Hello, and welcome to First Dates and Soulmates, the romance podcast that ponders the important questions like, if he only kills men who catcall, is he a feminist icon? I am your host, Nikki McKnight.
And I'm Meg Bolt.
And on today's episode, yes, folks, you heard it correctly, we are talking about the sociopaths, the psychopaths, the morally gray characters that somehow we're like, but I would date him or them, and it's beautiful. And to help us along in this conversation, we are joined by two majestic creatures. You may know them as the host of the new podcast, The Feral Fandoms Show, author, cult brand strategist, which I enjoy as a title and would like to steal. Please welcome to the podcast, Onley James, and co-host Shannon Ezzell. Whoop, whoop. I love that for all of us. Okay, let's just go right with kind of like my defining hypothesis for this episode is, why the fuck do romance readers love red flags, especially if they have six packs and questionable moral compasses?
Well,
I think we could look a little internally on that question. That's a deeper question than I think you know.
Is it romance or is it
my
misogyny?
therapist has been asking that question for a while.
How long do you have?
This is actually my therapy homework. I'm crowdsourcing. That's what I'm doing right now.
Oh, they do. They do love it.
I think we love a red flag because we all love a fixer-upper.
This is our emotional labor only.
Yeah, I think I can fix him is just like, it's just such a great trope, like when we read about it. And we've been brainwashed into thinking that all a bad guy is missing is a good woman.
He's bad to everybody else, but he loves me, mommy. He loves me.
Yeah, that is something on this show we like to call being the specialist boy or specialist girl.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
I'm not like other girls.
Thank you for the hair flip. I hope everybody could hear that hair flip.
I hope they heard it.
It is true, right? And I think it's funny sometimes when we talk about, because I remember one of our really good friends, Andrea Jones, aka author Olivia Carter, who's been on the show numerous times now, when she first started getting into queer romance, which is something I've been reading for ever. I don't read the straights. They're fine,
either.
but I don't love it. But she was like, "What do you recommend?" And I was like, how deep in this rabbit hole do you want to go? Because my first thought was Unhinged, book one in the Mulvaney series.
Straight out the gate is crazy.
Because I had just read it, and I was like, oh, you know what, you should read this. I read it and just enjoyed it. And she got like 3 chapters in, and she texted me going, Nikki, I love you, but what the fuck? And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this.
If you're in, you're in.
My stuff is considered like a gateway drug. Like, I'm the tamest. Like, I don't even call my stuff dark romance. Somebody called it cozy dark romance,
which is perfect.
It is.
And
emotional support vodka.
Yeah, and that literally is perfect because like only the bad guys get like bad things happening to them. And so it's like, to me, I think my stuff is so tame, especially I don't know if you know Breathless Lit. She has the PA. Yeah. Her reading list would scare a psychotherapist.
They're having sex with doors. They're having sex with doors. Morning Glory Milking Farm. I don't know if you ladies know about.
Oh, I love Morning Glory Milking Farm.
I haven't read it.
I don't think of that
Meg
as dark.
Threatened to make it.
No,
it's not dark.
She told me about a book once in the middle of a Wendy's, and I was like, "Girl, what?" And she's like, "Yeah, no, it was such a great book." And I was like, "That's a true crime episode.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?"
You're in danger, girl.
Also, that conversation is more suited for a Denny's.
Podcast.
Yeah. Or a Waffle House.
That's right, Shannon. I'm with you. That's a Waffle House conversation.
It
That's
was
not
a Waffle
Wendy's.
House conversation.
There you go.
For sure.
Okay. So
Well, but I do think that like your book technically ranks in the murder and suspense category. It falls under murder, suspense, thrillers because there's a subcategory there for serial killers and for vigilante. And so even though they are primarily shelved, like if you were looking for these in a library, they'd be in the romance section. There's also that piece of and I wouldn't even say, yes, it's serial killers and psychopaths, but it's also the vigilante piece, I think, is what makes it your brand. It's not bad guys who are hurting their partners. It's people who are not having feelings about the fact that they're killing the real bad guys, the people who are running the child's
Dexter
trafficking
meets the
ring.
Umbrella Academy.
And they
is
always
how I
get
feel.
the satisfying ending of this guy is the worst of the worst, and you're plotting. You like, I want horrible things to happen, and only gives it to them. It's like, finally, you get your gratification at the end that this guy paid for what he did.
Yeah, this is like you get the tingly and the chesty bits and the tingly and the groiny bits for this types of stories. I'm feeling satisfied.
Two for
All
one.
your bits are on fire. You're gonna call the health department when you're done reading these.
Or your doctor.
You're on a list, baby.
Honestly, I
does
got
it-
both of them on speed dial.
Does it hurt when you
get
pee,
a list of all your
though, is the
partners
problem.
together?
Yeah.
You're busy. You're booked and busy this afternoon.
Shannon, how did you know? Okay. No, I want to back up a little bit because only how, we're all fucked up, I feel, in many of the best ways. But I'm not quite the brand of fucked up and strange and great that would commit all of this to paper, digital or otherwise. So how did you get into, you're like, you know what, these folks who are going to like be killing the worst people in the best of ways, I want to write so many books about these guys.
Well, okay, so it's actually a strange evolution because in the second book I ever wrote as an MM author, I made one of my characters a sociopath. And I had two other MM authors reading along as I wrote this book. And one of them was K.M. Newhold and the other was Lynn Van Dorn. And they were both just trucking along with my sociopathic character. They were like, oh, it's so interesting. And at the end of the book, he gives his romantic partner his abuser's heart in a cooler. And KM immediately was like, you cannot do that. She's like, you will be branded dark romance. She's like, it will ruin everything. And I was like, just read the scene and then tell me what you think. And she read it and she called me back and she's like, never mind. I want you to put it in the book. And I was like, okay. And so when I did that, he instantly became like everybody's favorite character. And so when I finished my Time Served series, which was like a spinoff, I asked my readers, like all 5 of them, I was like, hey, what do you want more of? And they were like, we want more psychopaths. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay.
We want more hearts and coolers. We want more.
That's what they want. They want we want more crazy unhinged characters. And so
Hey.
And I am a huge Dexter fan. My mom and I used to watch Dexter together all the time, which is such a weird bonding experience. But like, we were addicted to that show. So I was like, I can give people bad guys as long as they're doing bad things for the right reason. Like, my moral compass is like a little skewed, but I can't go full dark romance. Mm-hmm. And trust me, my readers would love to have me do like really crazy shit, but I just can't do it. So I was like, okay, well, I could do like a Dexter type character, but that's like really been done before. And the Umbrella Academy was huge right then. And I was thinking about like how the X-Men have like this concept of like, Dr. X and like, there's all the characters that kind of umbrella underneath. And I was like, how can I make that into something that's similar but not the same? And the original premise was they were going to be like completely invisible. They were going to be like, I was going to call it the nobodies, and they were just going to be like non-existent people. And then I was like, but what if they weren't? Huh? Well, they were going to be like you couldn't find them, like how people get what do they call it, blacklisted when they're CIA operatives. Like they take them off the map, like they don't exist anymore, no fingerprints, no anything. And then I was just like,
or Men in Black.
But what if it was the opposite? Like, what if they were so famous that there's no way anybody would suspect him of being a serial killer. Kind of like the whole Garth Brooks being a serial killer thing that everybody's talking about right now. But I didn't know it was a thing until literally last night.
I was like, I haven't been on Reddit this week, so I don't know what this is.
Dude, apparently there's
Allegedly,
a whole
by
rabbit
the
hole
way.
about
Allegedly,
every
by the
time
way.
Garth Brooks holds a concert, somebody dies. Like somebody is serial murdered within a 5-mile radius.
Yeah.
It's a whole rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's fascinating.
God, I love the internet.
I love their funniest people in the world are just in comment sections, and they should be on stage.
Oh my God.
I love the comment section of almost any post. But yeah, so that's kind of like where I came up with the idea of like being too famous to be,
Oh, I know, I like
a
it.
serial unaliver, like maybe a killer. Like God knows we have plenty of famous people who've just like.
So like
But,
a Hannah Montana. It's like Hannah Montana, but a little bit different.
Well,
No, I just love that now as a
I mean,
metaphor.
Adam
Like,
literally calls
Best of
Arthur
both
Hannah
worlds.
Montana in one book.
Pew pew.
yes, that was it. Yeah, with Archer kind of coming out and being like, by the way,
Yeah,
this
I'm
is
not
all
a
fake.
drunk. I'm just an operative.
Takes off his blonde wig.
Yeah, and then they
Yeah,
start
that's
saying,
kind
it's
of
the
how it happened.
best of both worlds. And
What's
I mean,
funny is
I've
me
seen
having
your
to
marketing.
explain to foreign readers who Hannah Montana was.
Yeah, I've seen your marketing and I've seen Dexter Meets the Umbrella Academy, but I'm kind of wondering how different it would be if it was Dexter Meets Hannah Montana. Like how it would be received differently.
Write that down.
I think I would get a
Write
whole
that
different
down.
group.
Run a Facebook ad, see what happens.
Yeah. We're
Honestly,
trademarking that,
Lookalike
by the way.
audiences are a thing.
Yeah. Someone open ChatGPT. They're writing it with AI right now.
I was like, I also feel
And
like
that's me. It's my ChatGPT.
I was also like, I don't think she needs more to write. Because if we look at the breadth of your work right now, a lot of it is, between The Watch, between Jericho's Boys, the Mulvaney series is wrapped, but I just, quick sidebar for at the time of this recording, Bev in the Maze is making me real happy right now with the little Halloween party with the Shay Mulvaney. But, you've got all of these things going on. So I'm curious for both of you, when you're either writing or you're reading these like dangerous, these obsessive characters, like where do you think the threshold is between like, oh, romantic squishy and like repulsive holy shit? No.
Well, one, I think money has a lot to do with it.
True.
Two,
Story of our
looks
time.
have a lot to do with it. And I think that for me, if I again, this might be my autism and my weird skewed sense of justice, but I don't care if bad people die. I just don't. I don't. Being alive is not some sort of moral victory in and of itself. Like, you know what I mean? If you're a shitty person and you die, oh well, moving on. That's just who I am. So if I was with a serial killer who only killed bad people, I'd be like, alibi. Like, I don't care. Like, I just don't. God, this is going straight to my therapist.
Or if
What,
something happens.
she's actually being super tame right now. What we say when we're not on a mic, she's being really nice.
I don't know that it would go to your therapist so much as it goes to the police when you have to be an alibi and they're like, look, she admitted.
Yeah, that I would alibi anybody if they're
She's
hot
on
and have money.
so many lists. So many lists.
Murderers. Hot,
murderers,
rich
if they have-
murderers. Yeah.
But they have to murder bad people. And they have to be able to prove it to me.
And they have to be hot.
Yeah, that too. Sorry. I have a line. It's just me and Luigi Mangione.
Free my boy, he ain't do nothing.
You know what? Boundaries, I think, are important. And, really having a clear understanding of your boundaries just makes you a stronger human.
And
it's
you just have standards.
I do.
By doing bad things, it's consent to being schmurdered. So
there you go.
implied consent.
The only time that's okay is maybe in this situation where it's implied and not explicit.
We'll see if I can get your podcast canceled like ours. I had a hot take about Helen Keller yesterday, so it hasn't aired yet.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I saw a really great, like, I think it was on YouTube, it was a YouTube short about, like, Helen Keller, I don't think she did all the things that they said she did. She was not that cool.
She's a faker.
And I was like, oh, strong stance on Helen Keller.
Yeah.
So, Shannon, I'm curious for you, because if I look at the umbrella, not academy, of these kind of character archetypes between, like, the psychopath, the sociopath, the morally gray, the weird one, like, where do you think your personal sweet spot is?
When I'm reading,
Yes, as a reader. And then I also want to know when you're like maybe seeing the behind the scenes stuff. They're like, what you writing? Interesting.
But the merch is what I have to like keep kind of hidden, like the coloring books and stuff. I have small children, and my garage is just only James. It's floor to ceiling.
It's a pop-up
only
store.
James. When my son was little, he would say, "Oh, are you packing up all the sad boys?" Because they don't smile on the covers. So he would say, "Oh, mommy, you packing up all your sad boys?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm packing up my sad boys. And we're going to send them to the readers."
And they'll make the readers happy. The sad makes the readers happy.
Aunt Nina wrote another sad boy book. I said, "Yes, baby, they're so sad."
Honestly, if they were smiling, that might
My
make it even
biggest
creepier.
fans are her husband and her son. I don't know why, but they think what I do is really cool.
Yeah. They love it. They say, "Oh, more books from Aunt Nina." Only James. That's what they call her. Aunt Only James.
Her full legal government name.
But for me personally, when I'm reading, I read, I guess I read more traditionally. So I just finished Boys of Tommen, which was just teenagers in Ballylagan that have terrible childhood trauma and no one gets killed, and that's actually terrible about it. I wish people would come in and kill those characters. So my sweet spot for dark is, I guess I'm similar to Nina. If you're bad, you can die. I
like it.
I got 10 people off the riff that if anybody wants to fanfic that out for me, I'll 5-star it right now. But my role for her mostly is just the merch and the swag and the customer service aspect.
She tried to
of what
read
she
book
does.
1, and she...
I did, but I know all her phrases. So it's when you know an author your entire life and then you read her work and it's phrases that we all commonly use, like not to put too fine of a point on it, or like phrases that we use. It's hard to not know that my aunt wrote this.
Yeah.
And then I love the sexy scenes, but then I'm like, this is in my family member's head, and I'm in her head right now, and I think I'm going to go ahead and get out.
Anybody in my family to read my books.
I know, but
Never.
I want to be
If anything, I
supportive.
ask them not to.
I want to be supportive.
My mom has read my books, and she will point out all the things where she's like, "Oh, I know you wrote that at this point," or "Oh, this is about when Dad died," and I'm like, "Oh, this is so awkward," but she never brings up the sex scenes, and I'm like, "It's
Uncle
small
Steve,
mercy."
Yeah.
My uncle visited for the first time in 20 years, I guess he was here maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I'm bringing your books back with me." What? Why? He's like, "Oh, I want to be supportive." I was like, "You know what I write, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like,
No,
"Okay."
we're all cool. I went straight into the garage. I was like, "You want the special edition foil edges?
I
What
got
you want?
foil edges. I got hardcover print.
Look,
I got the art inserts.
You want some page overlays? Look, that's his butthole. You want some of that?" I got straight out the rip. You want some?
I love
And you know
How
what?
deep do you want to go,
People-
Uncle Steve?
People can be financially supportive without needing to tell us what they think.
Yeah.
Don't
And
have to read it.
honestly,
You can still buy it. That's okay.
Yeah, my brother was one of those people when I was writing YA who was reading my books, and I was like, "Please don't," because he's also a little bit critical. But he was also just "Oh, it's a great story, good job." It's like,
Oh, they were so condescending. Or another thing they'll do is they'll call, and I find this offensive, gay porn. So when it's straight romance, it's romance. But when it's two men or if it's sapphic, it's porn.
yeah, they love to
It's
say
so
I write gay
offensive.
porn. No, I don't.
It's so dumb. I correct people all the time. I'm like, "No, she doesn't." There's actually plot and dialogue and I don't know. Do you
And
know
I
how to
actually
read?
did
You can
write
read
gay
it.
porn when I worked for a porn company when I was 26, so I definitely know the difference.
Yeah.
Would you like to see my portfolio, because I can really show you the difference?
Yeah, once upon a
That's when
time,
I come
I
out
was
with
the one who was
receipts.
writing all the copy for that live hot girls in your area.
Wait, were you writing the marketing stuff, or were you writing what these hot girls in the area were actually saying? Were you scripting for them?
I can't I wasn't allowed to script for them, but let's just say I had to
Bullet
put
notes.
myself in their shoes to make it look like I was talking to their customers, because it was the very first chat network. Do you remember? Yeah, it was called iFriends, and they were more than friends for sure. And I started out in their fraud department, and I would have to check IPs to make sure that the credit card IP and the IP of the person's
viewing.
address were the same. So my whole job was just watching this whole list crawl of men who talk to women on chat. And then my second part of my job, I had the high roller list, which was all people who spent over $250,000 a year on our site. High rollers. And then my other part of the job would be reading the chat between the two of them to make sure that the chat hosts weren't doing any of the 5 illegal things you're not allowed to do on chat. And if they looked like they were complying, then I had to go to the video. So about 2 years of my life was just watching straight up porn.
This is
for money.
One of my best friends, like I used to work in logistics and supply chain, and that's where my best friend still works in there. And she goes, it's always so interesting. I go to these career fairs and I say I own a brokerage or I do logistics, and people don't know what that means. They don't know it's a real job. Now y'all know that was a job. Probably AI does it now, but still.
Probably. Yes, I would guarantee you.
It's still a thing for now. It's still
but
a thing.
Not for iFriends because they went bankrupt.
And you wouldn't actually be paid by the company. You'd be paid by Visa or MasterCard to make sure that all of these things were happening. Have you guys listened to the Hot Money podcast where they like try to track where the money of porn comes from? It's by the Financial Times. And they go through this entire thing where they go like interview porn stars. They interview the people who own the porn companies, the guy who bought out Pornhub. They look at all the financials behind it. And then what the conclusion that they draw after 6-hour-long episodes is like all of this is regulated not by the porn companies, but by Visa and MasterCard because they're the ones doing the credit card processing.
Anybody who has a
wild.
Patreon knows
Yeah.
Visa and MasterCard controls everything. They are very... And in a way, I get it because I quit that job because I started to hate men. Like I started to hate men, seeing the way they talked about their wives, their children, like, and part of my job was literally to get personal information on them because immediately they would hang up and then they would call and be like, hey, my credit card got stolen. And I was like, wow, really, Michael, your wife, Sarah, and your kids, and they'd be like,
she
oh,
actually
never mind.
blackmailed quite a lot of people. It was a good time.
It was crazy.
Would you consider this research for the vigilante serial
now,
killers?
yes,
Yeah, you can write that
100%.
shit off.
I think I'm starting to connect some dots.
It's the invisible string theory, right? It was always going to end in the Mulvaney
Always
universe.
there. Okay. So I'm a little bit of a pop culture nerd. Like if anybody ever goes to like a bar trivia night and they talk like movies and pop culture theory, like thank you. I'm the go-to with my friend group. They call me IMDb Nikki, which I'm like, yeah.
Oh my god, I was Noogle in nursing school. They called me Noogle because I knew everything about everything.
I love that. So when I was thinking about this topic, I went down a rabbit hole because I'm like, what's the etymology of this in pop culture? Because we had an episode a couple weeks ago on like vampires as a character archetype and what are the different types of vampiric archetypes and how did that change over time from like Nosferatu and Dracula up to, through Interview with the Vampire to Buffy and all these things. So I was like, I'm curious about what the evolution for like a psychopath as an umbrella term is. And it was really interesting what came up because the 1950s and 70s, we're looking at like Norman Bates. Like it's the not at all charming, creepy, weird person with mommy issues that's doing kind of stuff behind the scenes. And then that went right in like the 80s, we saw the flip into what I would call seductive killers. This was the rise of the erotic thriller. So you've got American Psycho, Basic Instinct, Fatal Attraction. This is the Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt version of Interview with the Vampire kind of coming up there. But they were seductive and charming, or have Riz, I think, as the kids say now.
I think it comes from Ted Bundy.
Which I think is so interesting because then recently on Netflix is it the Charlie Hunnam in the new
Ed Gein,
the Ed Gein series, and like the 80s and 90s were a questionable time for sartorial choices, but also it turns out for murderers and psychopaths. Yeah. But then we get into the 2000s, which in the vampire episode I called like the CW vampire era. Yep. Because this is where we see like
good old days, baby. That's the glory days.
This is like tortured anti-heroes. Yep. So, Spike on Buffy, Sebastian Valmont in Cruel Intentions. And then we start to see the shift back into almost like, can we combine the anti-hero with the seductive, charming one? Because this is where we get Mads Mikkelsen as Hannibal, who is my absolute fucking favorite. Hannibal, I just love Mads Mikkelsen. But this is like Joe Goldberg in You has been one of the most recent ones. This is Villanelle in Killing Eve, who's
I
combining.
love that show. Yeah.
I hate the ending, but I love the show.
Yeah, love the show, hated it.
Yeah. Exactly. I have thouts. But like
add that to the list of shows for Feral Fandom that I'd like you to do.
Please take this list.
Wait, break it down for me like a baby bird.
Yes,
I haven't seen it.
But like when I kind of look at that timeline in more mainstream pop culture about this character archetype, whether or not they call it out specifically as it is, like, is there any kind of standouts, I'll say, within that pop culture timeline that you've kind of pulled forward into either what you like to read or what you like to write? To kind of be like, if I could design my perfect psychopathic character, it would be a sprinkle of Joe Goldberg with the suaveness of a Mads Mikkelsen Hannibal. I'm just curious, like, what are you pulling from when you write or when you read?
And he looks like Christian
a
Bale.
Latin guy. She needs to do a Latin guy next, but go ahead.
I mean, technically, my self-insert character in my series is Atticus for sure. Atticus is 100% me. And Jericho is 100% wish fulfillment. And by the way, Jericho is half Mexican, half Chinese.
Chinese.
So,
I need an accent.
so yeah, no, Jericho is 100% like, which is funny because he's not the psychopath, right?
Yeah, Atticus is my favorite too. He won me over that moment where Jericho is like covered in blood and Atticus is like, I'm hungry, and pulls out a granola bar. I'm like, you're mine, dude. You're my favorite.
That scene, writing that scene was probably my favorite scene is the opening scene for Moonstruck.
It's one of my favorite scenes that you've written, was just
Yeah.
like my shoes.
Yeah, people call them meat scaries, not meat cutes. Like, but
Meet scaries.
but I just,
Okay.
I don't know. For me, the ultimate psychopath is, again, it's the one that's like, yeah, screw everybody else, but nobody better touch you. Like Klaus with Caroline, Damon
Klaus.
with Elena, you know what I mean? Like, just that. And that goes way back to when I used to read the Vampire Diaries as books in the 90s, like that was my first real awakening into, like, because I read Anne Rice's vampires, but they're all so impotent that it's really hard for a horny teenage girl to be like, yes.
Yeah, the morality parable in her work
It's
is,
like,
is
where's
interesting.
the actual sex? Like, that's what I was here for. I'm 13. I am looking for sex.
We'll dive into that later at therapy.
Listen, I grew up reading Stephen King's It, where a gangbang scene didn't even faze me at like 11 years old. I was like, wow, that's interesting. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, fascinating that wasn't in the film version.
Yeah, imagine that.
I don't know why. Bunch of young people.
Yeah, a bunch of 12-year-olds like getting it on.
But
Not
weird that
at
you're
all.
the one who writes the gay porn.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
Exactly.
Stephen King?
Yeah,
Stephen
no,
King would never. That's
Snitch
literature.
Guys running a train on a 12-year-old. No, that's not weird at all. Like, but
Water went up my nose.
It's creepy, but I
Editors?
didn't even notice because I grew up on Flowers in the Attic, where
Yeah.
if it wasn't your brother, at least that's something, you know. Like,
I like how the boundaries move, right?
Yeah.
Language
We're gonna-
evolves. We evolve as
push it.
humans.
listen, if Game of Thrones taught us anything, it's that, hey, at least it's not her brother, you know.
And then House of Dragons, you're like, you know what? I kind of want her to
Uncle's
hook up with
fine.
her uncle. It's fine.
It's not her brother.
Listen,
And
it's
once again, it comes
tradition.
back to having standards.
Exactly.
Yeah, and mine
Exactly.
continuously throughout my life, it's just been a slippery slope down.
I think that's it. I think our moral boundaries just do. But also, I think that we realize that the more people tell you how good they are, the more of a shithead they actually are. Like, there's just certain, I think we can all agree, there's just certain things we see in people's bios that we're just like, oh no, you're automatically a shitty person. Anyway, and
I love that you said that, because sometimes, I always like to say, like, how do you know if someone's a bad person? Like, oh, if they're rude to service workers. My personal one is if you don't put the grocery cart back in the grocery cart corral at the grocery store, and you just leave it in the parking lot. I'm like, you're a bad human. But I love it. Like, now it's like we're also looking at their Instagram bios, and
I feel like half of Nikki's vigilanteism would happen in the grocery store parking lot. Like, bitch, you didn't put it away.
they didn't use their blinker. They didn't put the cart away.
don't worry, I got you. I'll alibi that too.
Write that down.
She was with me the whole
Write it
time.
down. Grocery
She was with
cart
me.
scene.
She wasn't in Canada. We have no record of her crossing the border. It's fine.
It's fine. It was totally great. I just went to Buffalo to see a drag show. It's totally fine. I totally crossed the border. It was great.
Like drag show, you say? To jail. It's an equal crime here. I don't know if you're up to date.
Yeah. I lived in Arkansas. I know.
I feel like I should apologize just for you living in Arkansas.
Yeah, it was my senior year of high school. I got there like 6 weeks before class started. I did my grade 12. I graduated and I ran back to Canada for university. And I was like, thank you
I would
so
also
much.
like to run back to Canada. I'm really mad that my
We're run it back.
grandfather
We're a
got
couple generations out. We're
yeah,
just gonna,
for
we're gonna
like
go ahead and run
300
it back.
years, my whole family lived in Nova Scotia. Like,
I'm from New Brunswick. Neighbors.
yeah, well, that's where our family's from. We're Arcadian. And my grandfather got on a boat, or my great-grandfather, sorry, got on a boat and got stranded in England. And so when my grandmother had my grandfather, he was born in England before they went back to Canada. So he was considered an English citizen until he was like, I don't know, 8. And then I literally talked to a immigration attorney, and she's like, oh, if you had only talked to us last year. She's like, we just closed the loophole. I was just like,
oh no!
can you just squeeze it slightly open just a little bit, just to let me?
Is this not like just don't pay attention to the person in the window and just kind of
Yeah,
look the other
I'm
way?
like, look at all these Canadians in my history.
Yeah, especially the Acadiens, right? Because like that's
Yeah.
the French I speak is Acadian. Yeah, they a weird bunch.
Well, if you will alibi Nikki, she has volunteered publicly on the podcast to fake engagement with people.
Okay.
In order to move things forward. So if you need a fake green card, God, why are we recording all of this?
Yeah, I know. Shit, we should be talking about this. Never mind. We'll put a pin in this.
Nothing
We'll talk about it off.
Ian, our FBI agents are exhausted. This is nothing to them.
I call mine cat
They're like
podcasters.
fake green card. That's easy work for her on a Tuesday.
It's like we have talked enough about smut that they're going to just completely turn off the episode.
Oh,
and this
yeah.
is where we can plan overthrowing the patriarchy.
The boys
Exactly.
have left. They have left.
Yeah. Until they come back and like, I have to check the video feed. I have to check their IP addresses. And then it comes
Yeah,
back
exactly.
full circle.
Don't worry, she's still in North Carolina.
Well,
She's
don't
good.
worry, because we're all being globally monitored now. So
This is now a
fine.
political podcast. Hey guys, welcome back
And
to
Shannon
Kill
canceled
All
us.
Nazis. I'm Shannon Ezzell.
And we just got canceled. Okay, we were talking about comment sections earlier, and I feel like social media as it pertains to romance, dark romance, is a fascinating place to play in. Not only can we talk about what gets shown and what doesn't, and especially if it's queer, what gets shown and what doesn't, but when we think about social media, and like Meg, because like even one of your books has a trans main character, I'm always curious that when people are engaging with social to, you know, to sell, to market, like how hard does these off-piste kind of archetypes and storylines make it like to talk about it? How hard is it to talk about this stuff on social when the great narrative is that's not good, that is bad, that is wrong, and you're like, but please, 6-packs.
Book
Yeah.
talk. I think book talk that can go pretty beyond morally gray even. So
well, there's two sides of book talk. There's your Christian Minecraft server girls, you know,
They're reading,
that
like, cop
are throwing
romance.
me up on a
Yeah.
banned book list because like I had the audacity to say I don't give a shit that certain people are dead. And then you've got your girls who are just like, yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. I don't care what you do to that girl as long as you're hot and you've got money, you know, or you're a motorcycle guy, or you're, you know, you can do your form of criminal, you know, like, oh, you have mommy issues, whatever, you know,
yeah,
whatever
I
their
think it's
du
a fun
jour.
place. It's a fun place to be. I think there's because there's just such a big literary community on TikTok, and then there's just so many subcategories. There's your romantasy girls, there's your dark romance girls. You can kind of find a community anywhere on TikTok. I mean, mind you, you sneeze wrong as an author and you are donezo. So it's kind of, I think if I were an author, I'd be scared if my book blew up on TikTok because they're looking for something, you know. But I think on TikTok specifically, this is the only app I really use. I think LGBTQ is pretty popular, or that's my algorithm. I'm in an echo chamber, so
Yeah.
It happens.
yeah.
Well, I didn't realize there was such a big, like, they call them clean romance, which I hate that term. But I didn't realize that there was that whole subsection of, I don't go on Book Talk. I had to literally hand over my TikTok to my social media manager because I screwed it up with BLs and K-pop boys. and I was losing my target audience by a mile. So I have my own super secret, not so super secret TikTok that's just, I avoid book talk like the plague, because the only thing worse than seeing my own ads is seeing people talk shit about my books, because they don't, like, the algorithm is just feeding me, like,
They don't talk shit about her books, or I haven't seen it. And
people do. Luckily, they don't tag me in it, which is very nice of them. I appreciate that. But no, obviously, I mean, go to any of my books, you'll see there are reviews where people are just like, oh my God. I had one person who was like, yep, book 7 sucked just like the other 6. I was like, did you hate read all 8 books? Like, what?
I would let you know,
I pre-ordered book 9, but book 8 sucked.
I was like, before last week, I would have said, like, no, nobody hate reads that many books, and then I hate read 12, so I really have no leg to stand on here.
Because I had somebody do that to my books. And it was like, just wanted to make sure book 7 sucked too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, thank you for the money.
Yeah,
Thank you for the money.
Oh,
Thank you for the Kindle Unlimited reads.
That person was a patron. They were paying $5 a month to talk shit about my books on Reddit.
I aspire to have that much extra cash to be that petty.
That's what I said.
Damn.
I was like, on the one hand, I was like, wow, I guess I've arrived. I have a hater. But like, on the other hand, I was like, that's a little freaking scary that somebody dislikes me so much they're willing to give $5 a month just to be like, yep, look at this bitch wrote this week. Like, you know, she was like sharing all my stuff on Reddit, like that I was writing works in progress stuff. Yeah, she just didn't like my stuff. I was, okay. So yeah, I have haters. I do. I have people who literally loathe my books, but that's okay.
I have haters, and I haven't even written a book, so how about that?
Well, that person had me
aren't you
either.
special?
Yeah, but I think, you know, to the point of your whole podcast of fandoms, people care so deeply. Whether they love it or they hate it, they have strong feelings about it. And when you can have those strong, maybe even polarizing feelings about things, that's what makes it memorable. That's what makes it sticky. That's what makes people want to either engage with the fandom or do thick rewrites and fix-its. And that's when they start to go and do their own ships within your world and try to make adjustments to what they think it should be. And you can't care that much, or you can't care that little about something and then put that much effort into it. So even if you hate it, it still means something to you.
There's still passion in that, and that is what you want.
Well, I mean, Howard Stern made an entire career out of people hating him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was like, we have twice as many people who hate the show that listen to it as love the show and listen to it, you know? And that's, I think, where negative publicity comes in, where they say there's no such thing as bad publicity, because they're still talking about you, you know? And I think it goes for any good show. If you have a character that's either loved or hated to the point where people are willing to like have entire episodes about how much they dislike or like something, then you've made an impact in some way or another, which I think as a writer is pretty much all you really care about at the end of the day. It's like,
even
you
if
made
people
a
are
fully
saying,
formed character.
I hate this character, read it and tell me what you think, you're still making money from those sales. Even if it's people buying your books to burn your books, they're still buying your books. You're still moving up those lists. You're still making your royalties.
Burned one of your books yet? That's kind of embarrassing.
Where's your checklist on like your author cancellation list? Is your shit getting burned yet? I don't know.
I think we should probably go raid Shannon's garage and be like, what are we gonna burn today?
I'm a little scared because I put my government name and full home address on those packages, and some of these girls scare me. And they're like, I'm actually pretty local to you. Can I just pick mine up? I'm like, no, baby. I'm gonna need you to wait.
It's going to be shipped, or we're going to meet in a McDonald's parking lot like real individuals. Okay, I can't
it's a
believe
Wendy's.
I'm about to reference.
Nikki.
Yeah, that's a Wendy's meetup.
Yes.
Merch is Wendy's. It's a safer parking lot.
Wendy's meetup.
I'm gonna need a spicy chicken sandwich before you murder me.
There you go. No, I can't believe I'm about to reference this person, but Gwyneth Paltrow, in her Goop story.
I was gonna say Miss Goop herself.
Miss Goop herself, she has actually said that one of the ways that not only does she monetize the business other than direct purchases is she creates these things that she calls cultural firestorms. The idea is that they post something like vaginal eggs, knowing that most people are going to say she's fucking dumb and it's going to drive traffic to the site, which pleases the advertisers. And while they're there, they might not buy the eggs, but they might get the tea, or whatever else she sells on Goop. But it's a very deliberate choice to create cultural firestorms by being not necessarily controversial, because sometimes it's just doing something dumb or taking a weird stance.
Kim Kardashian's Skims thong with the bush.
Hello? Yeah.
You ordered it, right? I guess everybody got laser hair removal. I didn't get the memo because
I didn't have laser hair removal money back in the day.
I don't want to brag, but I saved myself $40, and I don't have to buy your bush thong.
No, that's again, choices
rage
are being
baiting.
made. It is.
Yeah, it's rage baiting, and it works. I just don't have the stomach for that sort of thing. I wouldn't either. I could rage bait by just being honest about things, but I would be enraging people that I hate, so it doesn't matter to me. But like rage baiting the entire world, no, I don't have I'm not thick-skinned enough for that.
And I think rage baiting for morality and saying like, hey, maybe we shouldn't have Nazis running things.
Very different than we could all just agree that Nazis were bad.
But be a bipartisan hate.
It's also very different than, hey, I'm gonna do something to piss you off, so you buy my shit. Like there's a very different moral code going on there, and there's a moral grayness to even just like, I'm gonna do something to piss you off so that way you spend money with me is very different to me than I'm trying to stand up for something.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who are standing up for things and it's getting their books sold. We see them all over Book Talk, but like, I don't know. I don't like to put my face on camera. This is actually driving me nuts. I'm trying very hard not to look at my own picture.
I've been staring at me the whole time. Don't worry, I'm not looking at you. I'm like, smolder.
Angle, light.
Oh my God. The first podcast we recorded, we record with video, but we only put up the audio because neither of us can really handle it. But this one, she's posing every 2 seconds. I had no problems clipping pictures because she's like,
like, and that's the thumbnail. That's the thumbnail. That's the thumbnail.
5, 6, 7, 8 ladies.
I like it.
She was definitely raised in the Tyra era.
Are you smizing?
She's smizing
right now.
She's definitely
when
smizing.
5'11" in the early 2000s, you're 100% convinced you're 2 seconds away from getting discovered, ladies.
She has headshots. That's what she's trying to tell you.
Oh, the good old days.
Do you have the ponytail like the Napoleon Dynamite headshots?
Oh no,
I
went and got them done, girl. I was
well. She's 6 feet tall, so she's a real tall drink of water.
Oh hey, ladies, pushing 40 by the way, pushing 40. It could still happen.
I'm just saying. It could still happen.
I think recently the only thing that was rage baiting your readers was we're putting out a lot of variants. And it's I don't know why it upsets people because we're not forcing anybody to do it. And it's only a small amount of people. Like, I can't buy them all. You don't have to. And then there's the other people that have 8 sets of Necessary Evils. We talked last week. It hasn't aired yet. I have one who ordered the mystery swag bags who has purchased, oh, hey, babes.
Everything.
Has purchased everything. And it's leftovers from all the special edition boxes. And I messaged her and I'm like, girl, is no mystery in here for you. And she bought 2. And then she did a giveaway. I don't know. Some people want them. It's to feed the demand, not to create it, the variants. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's a market for it, for Only. And hate if you want to hate, don't buy it. But they're beautiful. Mm-hmm. She just released an artist edition that's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's what the French illustrator.
Yes.
Leia?
Beautiful.
Leia. Yeah, she just sent me a message this morning. She was like, oh, thank you for what you said in the newsletter. And I was like, you're welcome. And then I thought, what the hell did I say in the newsletter? I hope it was nice. I don't even remember. I swear when I write, I go into these fugue states because people will quote me to me and I have no recollection of writing it. And I'm just like, oh, that's funny. And they're like, I should hope you think so. You wrote it. And I was just like, oh.
Oh, hair flip.
Yeah. Who, me?
God, I really am funny. That's sarcasm, by the way.
No, I'm audible sarcasm. So here's what I'm thinking of, because since we're going to talk about like inciting feelings in readers, and hopefully they like it, but if they're going to rage, hopefully they pay you to rage, and you're like, I can accept this as a commercial transaction. Yeah. It's fine. So when I think about like what do you feel is kind of at the like emotional heart of these stories, because sometimes that emotional heart is going to have people go, fucking love this, I'm going to buy everything, I'm going to buy 2 of everything, or it's going to be, I hate it so much and I need to tell people that loudly that I hate it. So how do you think, like, this, maybe, I'm sure it's probably across all authors can in some way do this. For some reason, at least in my little section of the algorithm, it seems like it's this genre that I see that type of feedback the most. They're either going to say, I love this so much because it's so not real, and there's something about it that's like super exciting, even though it's kind of manipulative and controlling in many ways. And then other people are like, no, I hate it for that very reason. But either way, like, there's feelings being incited, and I'm curious, do you think about that as you're writing, or are you just kind of going with the flow?
Well, okay, so when I first decided to write the series, I kind of went back to like my fan fiction days, like when I was like reading, I mean, I still read crazy fan fiction, but like when I first started reading it, like what it was that just like hooked me and why I just kept going back to it. And it was because like they had the moments that you never get in the show or the book. It's the stuff that ends up on the cutting room floor, or the stuff that was never written, the stuff editors are always say, like, cut the fluff, get out of there. Like, I wanted people to love my characters so much that they would read an entire story of them just sitting around a table eating breakfast together. Like, because those are the fanfic moments that like people always go back to. It's like, you know, them just snuggling in bed, or them watching TV, or them doing like really, I mean, there's obviously your multi, you know, chapter epic fics, but I don't have time for those. I go for the one shots every time. And that's the stuff I always gravitating to. So I made a conscious decision. I wasn't going to cut those moments. I was just going to find a way to make them work within the storyline. So like I would keep those fluffy moments, but I would also add in a way for it to advance the plot at the same time. And I think that it's like the whole found family aspect of it too. Like that just, it hits the need everybody has to kind of feel included and feel like they belong in some way. And I think that when you create a series that's got inside jokes and it has like its own culture in a way, that it makes people feel like they're in that bubble, and so they don't want to leave it. Like it makes them feel good, so they come back to it again and again. It's a dopamine hit, you know? Like at the end of the book, you want them to just be like, that was amazing. Open it again and read it all over again, you know? And I have people who they listen to my books to sleep every single night, you know? Every single night they go to sleep with like Adam in their ear, which is crazy to me.
And then there's a space for those books, like to that point, that in the literary space, I think there's such a superiority complex with some readers and some authors that sometimes we're just down to have a good time, and sometimes we're down to get a little more complex. And none is better than the other. It's completely morally neutral. Reading is a hobby. It's an activity. Whether you're doing it audio, whether you're reading it with your eyeballs, physical, digital, whatever. But there is in this world that we're all in, some people that really want to be better than others and want to appear, well, I'm doing this, I'm writing this, and you're just writing that. Like, we're all writing, and I'm not. You guys are. I'm not.
I don't write either, Jen.
Okay. Like if you need a garage to hold your books or whatever, but like even in the reader community, like I'm reading this and you're reading dragons that are fucking fairies. Like, okay, cool. I'm having a good time, and you're bored.
All I wanted was to just write books that people wanted to read. I was not trying to change the world. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't go in thinking that, like, oh, my books are so literary. Like, I wanted to read. I wrote the books I wanted to read.
Down to clown. Have a little fun, okay?
Yeah, I never watched the Vampire Diaries for realism or literary excellence, you know?
I actually based my life off of Elena, so...
And I think another thing that you brought up that really stuck with me is this idea of found family, especially among the Mulvaneys, where it wasn't just, you know, all 7 of these kids were adopted and sort of forced into this household, but then every time one of them partnered, that person was just like immediately brought into the family. And so when you have Noah, who's been basically like abandoned by his family, and he comes in and it's like, oh, you're one of us now. And then Lucas comes in and it's like, oh, you're one of us now. And there's that feeling of not just here are the kids who are adopted and grew up together, but every single partner is immediately accepted and takes on a role in the family business. Is that what we're calling it? You know, but immediately they're part of it. And it's like, oh, you're a journalist. Here's how you're going to work with us. And I'm sure that was part of the plotting, but also that feeling of, well, you're here now, you're in. You can't get out. You're stuck.
Some of it was part of the plot, and some of it just happened because of, like, organically. Felix and Avi were never supposed to be a thing. That just sort of happened. Thomas and Aiden, I floated in the first couple of books. Just, I hinted at it to see how people would react to it.
And everybody's like,
yeah, and people were like, tell me this is going to happen. And I was like, okay.
yeah, we will go there.
Like,
It's fine.
Mac and Archer, like, I had never intended to bring Mac over from the Elite series. Like, that had never been a thing. Actually, one of my friends suggested it, and I was like, I don't even know how to make that happen. And then I was just like, and then it came to me, like, just like boom, and I was like, oh, this was always meant to happen. Like,
by the way, there's The Watch. That's going to be another series.
yeah,
They're out of school. It's fine.
yeah. Well, I was obsessed with God, oh my gosh, Deadly Class, the graphic novels that then eventually, for a very brief moment, became a sci-fi show where it was like basically a school for assassins instead of a school for psychopaths. But if you saw these kids, it was literally the same difference. But like that kind of idea of like a school, like where you had these like 20-something-year-old people, but like that you're literally their only curriculum is murder, you know? And I just like, I love the idea of it. And I just wanted to somehow find a way to make that happen. But I like to connect all my series. So it all worked out perfectly. Because let me tell you, I did not know what Archer's whole deal was when I first started writing. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to write a drunk character who can't seem to get his shit together, who's literally hammered 24/7. And like, I guess I took the easy way out by making
And surprise,
it
it's Hannah Montana.
Yeah. Still one of my favorite lines.
No, I think what I like about this too is, you know, kind of going back to Shannon, what you were saying about like people like to create a hierarchy or like a virtue ladder when it comes to things like this. It's like, oh, you know, I think it goes back into even classical literature, right? Like, oh, I read Austen and Bronte, and who gives a fuck? But
I skip the porn scenes in Stephen King, okay?
Yeah, I don't read Stephen King's orgies, literature hair flip. But, you know, I think about the virtue ladder, but I think, you know, because I was trying to feel, you know, there's plenty of books, like I read a fuck ton of books every year, like a stupid amount of books every year. And, you know, especially since we started doing this show, I'm trying to read stuff I normally don't read because I very much read authors, not necessarily tropes or genres. And then I kind of just go down in that rabbit hole. And I was thinking about like dark kind of psychopath, you know, I was going through my, you know, my Elle Evelyn's, the Bran Skylar's Vitale Brothers series. I was going through Vasha Crow. I was going through KM's Mafia series, trying to figure out like, cool, like what makes this, like just for me as a consumer of this, what makes this work for me? Like, what do I like, and what am I immediately like, no, that's a DNF by chapter 2 because I just can't. And I know it's not they murder people, because clearly I like books where people murder people. But I was trying to figure out, like, where is that line for me? And I think it's kind of what you said, only when you were referencing the school. It's like they at least have a facade of normalcy that allows them to participate in society. I'm not so much for the bridge troll who's just like not even human and is fucking shit up. Like I can't really connect with anything there. But we talked even about Lily Main's Monster series a couple episodes ago. And one of the things we really talked about with that is even though they are non-human, their ability to express human qualities that we can at least identify with gives us a gateway into what they're talking about. So I feel like for me with Psychopaths, it's kind of the same thing, right? I'm like, murder all the people, fuck all this shit up, like be weird and possessive and crazy, but you're not like doing it in the middle of a 7-Eleven. There's still like a little bit of normal.
Only the Waffle House.
Yeah.
Only Waffle House. Waffle House is where it's at.
Only the Waffle House.
3 a.m.
Also, like, I think that's part of the appeal about Psychopaths is that they have no ability to have empathy or remorse or guilt or even love to a certain degree. They know obsession, they know, you know, but like we know there's more psychopaths than there are like serial killers. Like there are plenty of doctors who are psychopaths or plenty of CEOs who are psychopaths, like clinically diagnosed psychopaths. And the thing about that is like they're not necessarily, and of course now this is all new research, we're realizing that not everybody who's a psychopath goes out and murders people, and they fall into roles where not having a conscience is a great thing. Being a doctor without a conscience makes you an excellent surgeon, because you don't have that moral compass like, oh, what if I fuck up? You go in there almost with a god complex, like, I know my shit. It's the same thing with CEOs. They feel nothing about going into companies and tearing them down and like, selling them off for parts kind of thing. And I think that what people love about the books is like, you're reading the newsletter series, like Asa tells Zane, like, I have to choose to treat you like this. Like, I don't have like these goopy feelings to fall back on. Every day I wake up and I choose to treat you like I know people who are in love treat their partners, like, and there's something very intentional about like somebody choosing you, like somebody who's like, I did all this research, like August reading all the love language books, trying to figure out what a good partner is for like their the person that they've kind of,
or even Adam calling Calliope when Noah has like a little bit of meltdown and he's like, I don't know what to do, and she's like, burrito him.
Yeah.
Give him candy.
Put him in the blanket burrito, like, and the emotional support vodka. Shannon would know that.
Yeah, I'm a drunk. What? Oh, the merch. Oh, I have all the merch. Yeah.
Okay, I was like, what reference are we
do
making?
you guys have letters? Is this an intervention? Wait, did you trick me?
Shannon, we have brought you here.
Wait, let me get my cocktail. Wait, let me get my cocktail.
Quick, everybody grab your letter. Yeah. Nope, that wasn't where my head went at all.
Oh,
gosh.
No. Sorry. Somebody's insecure. I'm projecting.
But no, I think one of the criticisms I see of this genre is like, oh, it's romanticizing abuse. It's making lack of consent cute, and whatever, and on and on and on. I think fans who read it often know that that's not what the author is trying to express, and they see it as a way to indulge in maybe a darker side of life without kind of doing that. But there is something kind of sexy, as you said, Elisa. They choose you, and again, specialist boy, specialist girl, pick me, choose me, but not so much coming from that side of it. More is like, oh, I get this focus, I get this attention, and nobody makes you feel bad about it.
Yeah, and there's always consent. I think with dark romance, I think where I would draw the line, there's always consent. Everybody's willing and ready. Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's kind of where I always fall into that, like, ooh, like, because I was one of the biggest outcriers when it came to, I don't even know if I should say this out loud because I get canceled for it every time, but like 50 Shades of Grey, like I was a nurse when that came out, and I was like, it checks every box on the intimate partner violence like checklist. And that's all I said. And people came for me, like other very big romance authors like came for me on Facebook about it.
But moms were mad.
They were so mad. And that's the thing, like, it's not my line. It's not my, like, I don't get to choose what people want to read. You're welcome to read whatever you want. I just am saying, in my opinion, like, don't call this BDSM. Safe, sane, and consensual is literally right in the BDM, like, guidelines, like BDSM guidelines. Like, they want you to know that, like, you can be as freaky as you want as long as everybody's a consenting adult, And so that's, to me, where I feel like a lot of my moral compass is like, if you want to get freaky and do weird shit and everybody's on board, do it. I don't even care what it is. Like, I don't care. My personal line is that if your line is somewhere else and you're fine with like the non-con and the dub-con and all that other stuff, because believe me, when I read like manhwa and manga, I have no line. I don't know why, but I don't. Like, I don't know why, but when I go to Asia, all of a sudden my morals go out the window because it's a good story.
Well, they want to police authors so bad. I mean, there's people that think that she shouldn't even write male. She's fetishizing them when most of the readers are women also, and you know, I don't know. People want to police authors a lot of what they write, or readers on what they read, and
yeah, it's you know, I love that you brought up like safe, sane, consensual, because the other acronym that's used a lot is risk-aware, consensual kink, right? Like that's the key, I think, for me too, is kind of, you know, I love this genre, I love this archetype, I read a lot of it, but it's always going to go back to that. No matter what happens, nobody is in, at least within the main characters. It may occur on page, off page, elsewhere, but like everybody's on board for it. And, you know, we're feeling good about the decisions, even if that a partner is not someone with empathy or with awareness of like what quote unquote should be done or how I should talk to them. They usually still have a scene of like, oh, I did something wrong, or maybe that wasn't the right tact to take. Maybe I should call someone like a Calliope who can kind of give me some advice on what should I do now because this is happening. So, you know, I found this somewhere online. It was like, stay safe, stay spicy, but don't ignore background checks. Or love is blind, but have an exit strategy. And I was like, all of that can be true here. And we can still have a lot of fun while we're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think also there's like, we need to have a common definition of what dark romance is, because it is morally gray. It is complicated. It often has some criminal activity in it, but it does not have to have non-consensual relationships. Some authors choose to do that. And then some authors choose to have non-consensual sex activities that they agree upon beforehand, and then they're role playing and they can end it at any point, which is still safe, sane, consensual, even if they're role playing that it's non-consensual. Yeah. So you can point out in the books that there are ways to do this safely, even if it looks like it's unsafe, and part of the thrill is that it feels unsafe, but it actually is. But you have to do the work as an author to lay that groundwork. And if authors don't do that, they have that right. However, they may not be doing a service to their readers who think, oh, this is normal, this is what it looks like.
Yeah. And I mean, I explore a lot of like the BDSM stuff in my books, and to the point where somebody in my Patreon was like, is everything going to be BDSM now? And I was just like, no, not everything, but this particular thing is, yes, you know. And I really play a lot with like domestic discipline, a lot of like, you know, where's the line between domestic discipline and sexual slavery? Like, where's like, and even sexual slavery is in and of itself a type of BDSM activity, as long as everybody's on board, you know what I mean? But like, I like to play with those roles, but I like to show people doing it the right way, you know? And not like I'm morally superior or anything, but like, I just like showing people like, you can still like this stuff and have it be completely consensual, you know? But it's hard to find like people who are in that role, like dominant role, without getting slogged through the, you know, fake edgelord, you know, you'll do what I say kind of like, you know, anybody who's ever been on any kind of BDSM site, like matchmaking site, will immediately see that there are things worse than red flags. There are like dealership level red flags. Like they're everywhere. Like it's a scary place to be. So I think books make it safe for women to explore those like things that they don't have the outlet for in their real lives. But also with gay romance, I think it lets women explore the whole dominant submission thing without it becoming a anti-feminist like feeling.
Gender politics into it.
Right. Because you can just sit back and enjoy the story. You don't have to put yourself in the role of either character. Or if you do, it's not from a point of view of somebody who the world has told you is somehow inferior just because of, you know, what you were born, you know,
their marginalized identity.
Exactly. Like, so you get to just enjoy a story without having to center yourself in it, but still get all the dopamine hit of like getting to do that activity without, you know, the consequences, essentially.
Without the rope burn.
Right. Exactly.
And I think also there are these different tiers of dark romance. Like there's so much that fits into this sort of umbrella of dark romance. And I was digging into that a little bit to say like, is this really like you said, cozy dark romance. One of the phrases that I found when I was researching is gray romance, or like morally gray romance.
Yeah,
where it's
definitely
not,
mine are morally gray.
Yeah, where it's not asking you to forgive something that's completely unforgivable because you love him, but it's like, let's look at the complications of this and dig into those and allow it to not be black and white dark romance where he's just right because he's the man.
Yeah, exactly. I just like to write really toxic people who are right for each other, not right for everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, they don't magically get healed by the power of love. Like, they're still fucked up at the end of the book. Like,
no
they're
magic
still both
penises.
fucked up. Right. They just happen to find somebody who's like, your fuck up and my fuck up. Like, they match perfectly. So we should just be fucked up together. Like, that's my whole brand. It's just like, you're crazy, my crazy, let's be crazy together kind of thing. And I don't know. I think I don't call my stuff dark romance because I don't do like the third act breakup. I don't do like, I want all of the stuff to be like, I'm definitely an insta love / insta lust kind of writer. Everybody knows that about me. It's like they imprint on each other like ducks. And then like everything else, all of the other stuff comes from the outside of the couple, like all of the conflict, you know?
Yeah, you always have a third act conflict that they have to work on together. And I think that works really well in the context of a thriller or romantic suspense where they're in it together against an external force.
Yeah, a lot of readers don't like that third act breakup. It gives them anxiety because they're always waiting for it. So like now that they know that they can read my books and they don't have to worry about that third act breakup, like they kind of feel safe to just read whatever I write because they know I haven't broken those contracts we've made early on in the author relationship.
Yeah. It's a real thing. I tell you, this is why like I can't really read sports romance that often because I'm always waiting for the forced outing that is probably going to happen sometime around the third act. So I always have to skip to the end. I read the last like 3 or 4 chapters just to see how it goes, and then I can go back and
although if you read straight sport romance, half the time it's like, well, I'm pregnant, and I'm like, oh god, not this again. I
don't mind a pregnancy trope. Hot take, I don't mind it.
I don't mind it if it's set up correctly.
Oh, a lot of times it's super bad, and then she loses all her powers because she had to like do some magic because she's pregnant. But that's
clearly
genre.
the estrogen's no longer going to her brain function. It's only going to the dear sweet baby that's growing inside her.
Yeah, she
it's
was
love.
like the most powerful, small, skinny, tiniest, but also most powerful person and saved the whole world. But now she's pregnant and she loses all her powers. I don't like that.
It's very Trinity in the Matrix.
Yeah,
like,
I was going to say
the coolest, most powerful person, and then Neo. And then
I was going to say it sounds more like you have some ACOTAR trauma.
Yeah.
Whatever this book is called, Silver Flames, you have some serious Silver Flames trauma that I think we need to work through in therapy.
Yeah, you're right.
No, haven't read it. Still proud of it.
Me too. I haven't read it either.
I feel like we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it at some point on the show. Same thing with Morning Glory Milking Farm, which you mentioned earlier. I haven't read it.
You gotta
I have
go throw in a glass
fluids.
first.
I can't.
Okay, so that's me too. Like, and I write Omegaverse, so I really don't have any.
I know. Let me tell you, I read season 1 when it came out in the thing, and I don't often read it because me and fluids just don't mix. I can't do it. It's
I understand. As a former nurse, believe me, I understand.
I get it. But like, Noah Harker somehow managed to pull that shit off in a way that was like, okay. I'm just going to bypass that paragraph about fluids, but other than that, I'm in.
I think it's because those things give me the ick too, but I love the whole Omegaverse genre. So I had to write it in a way that didn't bother me.
Yeah, see, your ick matches my ick. This is why it's working.
That's my whole readership. It's like my ick and your ick, they match.
All right, you guys should probably meet up and get married so you can get Canadian citizenship.
Yeah,
there we go.
Let's do it.
Write it up.
I come
the
with
whole
a
family.
caravan of people and children and dogs.
Bring the whole family.
We'd be like the Oregon Trail.
Yeah, with all of our belongings.
My kids are like sitting on top of the
Niagara Trail, we call it now.
I got Lobo.
Exactly.
Oh, good Lord.
We're like, oh, Canada. I'll learn the song before we get there.
That's the test at the border. Passport
Bonjour.
and please stand for the national.
Oh, Canada, I like poutine.
There you go. You're already better than a lot of natives.
Perfect.
Hockey, moose, Mounties. Yeah, you're good.
Boy aquariums.
Right now it's Blue Jays.
Yes,
it's
I bet
very
it is.
stressful. Very stressful right now. I'm a fair weather sports fan. I'm just like, oh, we're winning, fantastic. I'm in. Oh, it's sports is happening. I don't know.
We should mention that we recorded this weeks before, so by the time people are listening, they may know the winner of the World Series.
They probably will.
How'd it go, guys? How'd it go? Sports ball.
Dodgers, go teams. Well done, boys.
Good job, guys.
Yeah,
Or
my ex
bad.
traumatized me
Or
about
bad.
sports. I get an eye twitch when people start talking about sports. I'm just like,
So we will not see a sports romance spinoff.
No,
from
because,
any
like,
of your pen names.
I used to have to
so
literally
funny.
be like, you don't actually play. You know that, right? Like you're on the couch, coach. Like, you know.
No, I laugh how that comes up, but I like it when people know that, like, yeah, I'm not really going to write that because Eden Finley was on the show a couple weeks ago, and obviously big with sports, big with hockey. She's Australian, and we're like, how? And she knows much more about hockey than I do as the resident Canadian, and I was like, I don't watch hockey anymore. It's fine. But like, I love that she was like, no, this is the thing I am going to learn about because I think it's cool, and I want to write, you know, hot 6'4" hockey dudes with thighs that could crush watermelons and tree trunks simultaneously, doing fun things in the bed, and that's the way that she's chosen to go.
But she also
love that.
said, like, I wrote football players, and then every scene that was at the stadium, I wrote from the non-football player perspective, so that way I could be like, I arrived at the stadium, I left the stadium. Great.
Sports happened in the interim.
Sports ball.
Crossfade.
He's so good at sports ball.
Listen, I used to love, I still do love, like, watching hockey if I get to go to a hockey game, because there's a very big difference between watching it on television and being there where guys are getting slammed like this far from your face, and it's just like they're like fighting each other, and it's just like the energy is like there. And now that they call them boy aquariums, now I need to go 10 times more.
Oh my God, you said that earlier and I did not clue into what you were referring to.
Yeah.
I'm so on board for this. I went to the Buffalo, the Sabres Maple Leafs game in Buffalo last Friday. It was my first NHL game that I've been to live in about 15 years. And that was we had really great seats because somebody had corporate seats. And we're just like sitting there with, you know, me, romance author Olivia Carter next to me, our friends who are romance readers. And we're like, yeah, sports.
Yeah, like, take it off.
Do you think they're making out? Or we'd be like, oh my God, look at
they're
the butt on
definitely
that
doing
one.
it.
It was great.
They're doing it. They're doing
Yeah,
it.
I know men, like, when women go to hockey games, they're just like, but I don't care. I don't care. You're not going to kill my joy of this. we get to fetishize you for a change.
Yes, that is the safety involved with distance, right? Yeah. I
just
can have
moving.
all these thoughts because I'm not saying it right to their face because that's a little weird.
Yeah. Also, I'm not dangerous. I'm not. I can just
Yeah, say that. Let's see you in a Waffle House parking lot at 3:00 in the morning. We'll see.
I do be plotting.
Shannon, we have brought you here today.
Oh no, the letters! Dang it! Wait, where's my vodka?
That's why
One
we're
more
here,
drink.
Shannon. We wanted to talk about the last time you were drunk in the Waffle House parking lot.
Damn, no, you don't.
Which is funny because the Waffle House is a Jonas Brothers song, and now I have that song stuck in the back of my
It is
head.
not. Is
Yes!
it a Jonas Brothers song?
It's a very catchy fucking song. Yeah, it's like not the latest album. It's a couple albums back. The song is literally called
They're
Waffle
still putting
House.
out music?
Yeah, they're on tour right now, like a huge tour. And then they actually sang at the Blue Jays game.
Listen, if they're not singing in Korean, I don't know anything about them, okay? I'm sorry.
No, it's true.
The show notes for this episode are going to be so weird.
I'm on board with that. No, because then you said, you know, Korea. So, because like I was a huge manga fan. Like I used to live in Tokyo. And we actually said on our Monster Romance a couple episodes ago that like, oh, is tentacle porn the gateway drug into monster romance? Especially when you're an anime fan, it most definitely is. But you know, I do read a lot of like manhwa and like BL manga still on my e-reader. And I think what you said earlier was so true. It's like the boundaries and things that we've been talking about in terms of like what is typically I'll call more mainstream acceptable does not fucking exist. In those things. It's really interesting for me, especially having lived in Tokyo, is, you know, people look at Tokyo, oh, it's so clean, it's so like modern, the trains are on time, look how efficient the restaurants are.
Used panties in vending machines.
Yeah,
and then just like some of the content. And I feel like in our content, we're always a couple years behind them. Same thing with Korean, like K-dramas and all the manhwa. I always feel like the North American audience is a couple years behind them typically, and it kind of trickles down. It's giving me a weird visual. But like, you know, I feel like it's coming over. So if we Jesus again.
You're gonna be so hipster about this when octopus porn becomes like a big trending thing here. You're gonna
be like, I liked octopus porn back when I was 12.
And it's gonna get to the Midwest any year now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been reading octopus porn for like years, so I'm glad you're finally on board.
Thank you. Oh, you're only
Shannon's hair
that
flip.
now?
She's like,
Octopus porn? I haven't heard that in years.
No, but I love it. It's so random to me. Yeah, like I always forget what's vending machines. Yeah, like how they turn around at night into the not appropriate for daytime things is always fascinating to me. Or as you're, Kinokuniya is one of the biggest bookstore chains in Japan, and it's 7 stories, and one entire floor is manga, and half of that floor, and I lived there this is back in 2007. I was still in college. Was like half the floor was boys love and shonenai and yaoi like content, and I can only just imagine that has exploded because it's so big here that I feel like retroactively it's everywhere.
Well, I have my books over there now, and like boy love manga is actually like still huge, but the actual novels are just sort of starting to like creep in. So like that's why part of the reason that Shin-Shikan like came to me is like they're really trying to push more gay romance novels as instead of the manga aspect of it. Yeah, exactly. Which hey, you're never gonna hear me talk shit about that.
I was like, speaking of fans buying everything, people literally going to Amazon Japan to get the cover, because the cover art for Unhinged, the Japanese version, like the novel.
Moonstruck's coming out December 12th, I think, in Japan. So they usually send me copies so I can do like a little giveaway, which is very nice.
I have some in my garage. Not to
which apparently you all know where it is now. So Shannon's really outing herself.
No, I don't. No, I don't have it. Don't come here. Don't come here.
And if you could share your social security number with us, Shannon, that would be lovely.
57.
But to your point though, like I will say the funny thing is how everything's coming this way as far as like, from Asia to here, like with the K-pop, the BL, and all that other stuff. But I'm noticing that the more we see K-pop and BL here, the more our morals are being like sort of absorbed. Like especially I see it in like Thai BLs, like where it used to be very old school, non-consent, a little creepy. Really like old school tropes that like nobody really likes now, as far as like the miscommunication trope where it's like something that could have been resolved in a conversation goes 9 episodes and you're just like, for the love of God, just wrap it up.
You mean like Kin Porsche? Yeah.
This. Okay. Which was my gateway drug to Asian BL like on TV.
It was for Thai stuff. I was already watching the Japanese stuff and the Korean stuff, but that was my first one for Thai, and I was like,
but I'm starting to see it now, and like Mame, who did like Love in the Air and Tarn Type back in the day, her stuff was so problematic that the backlash from US and like English speakers was so great that they changed the translations mid-show, because he wouldn't stop referring to the bottom in the relationship as his wife. And over there, it's perfectly common. Yeah. But here, people were like, okay, the whole point is there is no wife. Like, and they started changing the translation. So it's interesting to see how it's like, and it's the same thing with K-pop. Like some of the stuff that K-pop fans in Korea think is perfectly normal, over here it's not. Like thinking they have like a license to harass K-pop stars, thinking they have the right to ask them weird questions on fan calls, stuff like that. It's so invasive that like for people on our side of the world are like, wow, that's like, even for us, like that's a boundary pushing. And they're just like, well, we're the reason they're famous, so they have to give us this. And like we're starting to notice that K-pop like stars or like idols are starting to push back now. Like I do have some autonomy. I do have the right to like have my own life. I do have the right to say, no, I'm not putting on cat ears and a collar, you weirdo, which they did to poor Felix from Stray Kids. Like it's very strange. But yeah, so it's interesting to see how it's kind of starting to blend together. Like,
it's an interesting repeating pattern, because like look at animated Sailor Moon in the 90s and how characters were gender swapped or their relationships were changed. Yeah, and now North Americans are like, no, that's fine, but like, watch your language.
Yeah, exactly.
So random. Beautiful. All right. Anything else we would like to say, just in general? I was gonna say because we're all over the place. I fucking love this.
Yeah, have fun, editor.
I mean, from my perspective, it's like all of this was fascinating. I just need to figure out when we talked over each other. When
It was the whole
everything
thing.
will stay in. All the ums and likes, they're in.
All
the ums and likes are in?
Oh no!
I know you hate the ums and likes, but they're staying.
We're done for. Send it
real.
over to Nina afterwards, and then she'll do the ums. We're people.
Oh
Yeah,
god,
me too.
So bad.
It happens. Okay. But given, this topic, I'll call, psychopath characters in romance, kind of this darker side of romance. What do we ship the most about it? What is the thing either in this genre or this trope that is like, that is the most appealing to us? Meg, I'm going to start with you.
Well, I have 3 things, and now I don't know
Beautiful.
how to decide. And I was going to let someone else go first and be like, well, that and. So I would say, for me, it's the you're the only one for me insta-love. That, like, instant imprint moment of, I'm really messed up, but I'm going to do it for you. It's the found family of not just, the core members of the family, but the way that the partners fold right into it. And I think it's also... if you have somebody who doesn't have this moral compass and doesn't have this internal monologue of how is somebody going to feel, and they have to choose their behavior and learn from watching others and learn from reading books and learn what feels like it should be innate to us, and they're going to go through that effort every day to do that. Like, I have an autistic kiddo, and so we're always talking to him about, like, here's how we engage in conversations, and you ask me this and I ask you this, and we have to, like, teach him those things that feel instinctual to a lot of people. And maybe that's it for me with the psychopaths, is they have to choose to learn how to behave when they don't have the feelings to back it up. And that to me, that choice to love is maybe the thing that I ship the most about the genre.
Beautiful. I like that. Shannon, what about you? What do you ship the most about this this archetype and trope?
Okay, truth time. I don't really read dark romance, so I'm gonna say, based off what we've talked about today,
I love it.
I would say, well, I'm just going to talk about Onley's books, and the general idea I have of them is I like that these are dark guys doing scary things, but they have a humor to them. And I think the way she's writing it is safe. And I think the readers feel a connection with a specific character, even though he might be a psychopath. There's still something really human that these readers are connecting with, and they really are connecting deeply with you see yourself in Adam, Noah, Calliope, and they really bond with them. So I think for Onley specifically, I love that she's giving people a safe story, and she never betrays their trust. And that's why they're so loyal to her, and that's why they're willing to wait 6 weeks. Thank you so much for waiting if you're listening, for their books.
Shannon earning her paycheck today.
And I love her, and I love when she PayPals me every month, and she's so pretty. Look how pretty she is. And that's the end of glazing. That's all the glazing I'll do for her today. We're done.
I love it. Beautiful. Only, what about you?
I think for me, I like that. This is going to sound so fucked up, but
I love it. What else hasn't already sounded like that today?
True. That's true. But I like that because the psychopathic character already does dark things and has these like dark thoughts, that your brand of fucked up doesn't seem that bad to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, it seems almost like, oh, well, yeah, that's just your thing, like, yeah, sure, you're like weird and you need constant reassurance or whatever it is that your particular, insecurity is. To them, it's just like, oh, yeah, whatever, no big deal. And I think a lot of people want like that, like validation, like, no, you're crazy, but I don't mind, like, or no, you're not crazy, that bitch is talking shit about you at work. Like, it's that like validation, I think, that a lot of people look for. Like, you're flawed, I'm flawed, but that's okay.
Oh, I love that. For me, I think it's similar to what Shannon was saying. It's because I think it all, in some weird way, this also ties into why I pretty much read exclusively queer romance. We talked earlier, like, I don't want to see myself on the page. I got weird fucked up things about relationships and sexuality, especially being like an ace woman, that like straight romance is really hard to connect with, because it's like I don't feel any of this. Like that's not like the bodies and time and space is weird shit. Only I just also want to let you know that Post-it note you drew for one of the first core 4 fics on your Patreon, I reference that often when it comes to like my issues with bodies and space. But like one with queer, I don't have that because I'm not on the page. But also with psychopath, it's like, yeah, like I don't have to worry about if I go on a date, am I going to get attacked as a woman? I don't need to worry about like my own like fucked up shit. They're like, oh yeah, that's nothing compared to what I got going on. So I really it's comforting in a weird way to be like, oh, like you don't really care about the stuff that I'm worried about, but also like this is probably the safest person that I could be with, not for anybody else, but I'm the safest I will be in my entire life. And as a woman reading that, even if it's queer romance, I'm like, oh my God, what a relief. Oh, this feels nice. Let's just stroll through time. This is fantastic. All right. So before we go into the final question of what we are shipping this week, a few gentle reminders on how you can support the show. First off, head on over to Apple Podcasts, Substack, Spotify. Leave us a rating, review, and subscribe. Check us out on the social media. We are at First Dates and Soulmates on the Instagram, the TikTok, and the YouTubes, where you can see most of our happy smiling faces and my dog, since she's been doing stuff today. She's kind of cute. And then if you have a little bit of money each month to shoot our way, you can check out our merch store. It's on tpublic.com. It's linked in the show notes, or you can subscribe to the show on Substack to support all the work that Meg and I put into the show. Fantastic. That is our spiel. Let us go into the final question where we get to nerd out a little bit on what we are shipping this week. I'm going to go first. I'm going to volunteer myself to go first because I really like mine this week.
Oh, okay.
So we talked a couple weeks ago, again, as I said, about vampires, and I had mentioned Interview with the Vampire, and I mentioned that I had not yet seen the AMC series, but I knew a lot about it because I had seen the shorts on YouTube and whatever. But then recently, some of the first teaser content for Vampire Lestat came out, and I went into a frenzy. So I have now watched the entire first season of Interview with the Vampire, the AMC series. I've read the summary for the second series, and I am just so in love with Sam Reed as Lestat.
He's killing it.
What a fucking perfect portrayal. Because it takes what I liked about Lestat in the Anne Rice series. It takes a little bit of some of the chaotic stuff, even in Tom Cruise's version of Lestat that I enjoyed. Yeah. It's got a little bit of like Stuart Townsend from Queen of the Damned, like his like
very rock star, like
yes.
yeah.
So Vampire Lestat's not even out yet, which I'm already real fucking excited for, but I love the entire cast. The production design for Interview with the Vampire, the show, is absolutely phenomenal. Like I love talking about production design in film. It's one of my favorite things. And the tone, the color, the costuming, the set deck, even the cinematography of this show.
The writing is excellent too.
It's fucking phenomenal. And Jacob Anderson, I think, is the actor's name who plays Louis.
Yeah.
I didn't love Brad Pitt's version of Louis in the film. He was a whiny, sad boy. And in this Louis is complex. He's got a lot.
Louis and Lestat as like a divorced couple.
Oh my
their scenes in the same room crack me the fuck up.
There was an interview they did recently that they were kind of talking about, like, yeah, you know, as they're prepping for Vampire Lestat to drop, you know, what are you working on? What are you thinking? And they're like, oh no, Louis and Lestat are very much the Elizabeth Taylor. We're going to get divorced and remarried and divorced and remarried and divorced and remarried on and on and on. And I'm like,
phenomenal.
It's fucking phenomenal. So if y'all haven't watched it yet, like season 1 and 2 are out of Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, they're on Netflix. 3. You definitely should watch them. It's so good.
I was like, it's on Netflix in the States. It is not in Canada. So Canadians, y'all have to go to Crave or Amazon Prime to get it. Yeah, we don't have the same licensing, so a lot of stuff that's on Netflix in the U.S. I don't get, which is sad. But that's what I'm shipping this week. Meg, do you have a ship for this week?
Yes, but you do get the hockey romance that we don't get, so I might have to VPN to be able to do one of our
Universal Healthcare. I don't know.
Yeah, I get heated rivalry and Universal Healthcare.
What I am shipping this week is something we started discussing because Shannon and I both showed up in clear glasses today when we started this, and I pointed out that I just got this new pair of glasses that has the clip-ons to it, so that way they can change color. It's by a company called Pear. I have glaucoma, and so I am on eye drops 3 times a day that give me dry eyes, so contacts are not something that I comfortably can wear for long periods of time anymore. So, but I also have terrible vision. I'm like legally blind without my glasses, so the glasses cannot cost $400 each. So I'm finding these ways to get like blue light blocking glasses that I like, that can look different, for $20 instead of $200.
Yeah.
So big fan of Pear. We're gonna put, you know what? I'm gonna put my referral link in the show notes.
Do
so
it. Affiliate link.
I'll click it because I love those.
Wait, I was like, wait a minute, sponsored? Okay, ladies.
Wink, Pear. Because I have to close my eyes now to keep them nice and moist, so I'm winking at you.
You keep me moist, Pear. Thank you.
Wow, that's the ad break.
There it is.
Sponsorship.
We're throwing it to Shannon for that one.
No, I love
Shannon,
it.
what are you shipping this week?
I'm a Swiftie.
Ooh.
Hot take. So
Show girl.
It's been a big month.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm shipping that Life of a Showgirl all day, every day, no skips. We just did an episode on it. F the haters. F the haters. Favorite song? It's gonna be Elizabeth Taylor.
I love Elizabeth Taylor.
I'm a honey girl.
Oh,
Yeah.
Honey is so
Honey's
nice.
really
No. But have you heard the Backstreet Boys remix?
Yes.
That Lydia, what's her name? Lydia Diggs, I think, is the artist.
Yes.
I'll link it in the show notes. Like, it's her mashup with Elizabeth
Yes.
Taylor and
It's
everybody.
so good. Have you heard the acoustics that are on the albums? There is her on the piano doing Elizabeth Taylor. She has this squeak when she goes, "Be my NY." I can't sing. Hey, when Hollywood hates me, and it's just her on the piano, and it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
So I'm shipping.
He's a Swiftie.
I'm shipping the Swifties. What's up, ladies?
I love it. I love it. All right, Only, finish us off. What are you shipping this week?
I just finished up watching Kemjira, which is a Thai BL by Domundi. You can watch it on iQIYI, which looks like IQIYI, but it's iQIYI. And it was phenomenal. Like, I like a lot of Thai BLs that are not the best put together shows, but they just they have like great chemistry. This show had everything. The cinematography was amazing. The writing was amazing. The chemistry between the leads was amazing. Everything about the show hit just right, and I'm obsessed with it. I've already watched every episode like 3 times, so that's what I'm shipping this week.
I love that.
It's so good. It's
That's
so
the
good.
sign for me if I really like something, is if I finish it, if I immediately rewatch it, which is K-pop Demon Hunters for me, or if I
Oh, me
immediately
too.
read it. Right? Fucking great.
Twins.
Beautiful. Okay, before we go, what would y'all like to promote? Where can we send people? What do you want to pitch?
I'll do it. I know.
Do it.
I know, Shannon. The Feral Fandoms podcast. You can reach us at theferalfandomspodcast.com. You can also find us. Our link tree is just the Burned Out Muse, which is the umbrella company for the Feral Fandoms podcast. And pretty much you can find us anywhere. We're Instagram. You can either follow the Burned Out Muse or the Feral Fandoms podcast. That is our at.
You can buy her books at onlyjames.com.
Okay, that's
check
new.
the
Yes,
shipping
you can buy my
policy.
books too.
Yes, check the
Support him on
shipping
Patreon.
policy.
You can support me on Patreon. You can support the podcast on Patreon, which you can find at the Burned Out Muse
Money,
as well.
please. Thank you, Daddy.
Yes.
Are
So if you
we
like me, you can promote here, and if you like us, you can promote there.
Beautiful. All right, we'll be sure to include all of those links in the show notes. Coming up next week, y'all, it's time again for our Thanksgiving tradition of where Meg makes Nikki read a random food-based porn. Coming up next week, it's Pounded by Produce, y'all.
Wait, let me give you like a really quick synopsis of this. A woman is the cook for 2 priests. They can't have sex unless they turn into a cucumber and a tomato.
Like, they literally turn into, like, magic.
They are sentient vegetables.
Oh
Yeah,
my god, I have to
vegetables.
send you a link
Veggie Tales.
to a Wincest fic where
Oh.
Dean does Sam, and Sam is a sentient cinnamon roll. I have to send that to you.
We will read it before we record, and we will bring it up in next
Yeah,
week's episode.
this is our American Thanksgiving tradition. Last year, it was Back for Seconds, which was a sentient vegetable gangbang on a dining room table because the
Those
main
were-
character was a classy bitch.
They were humans. Those were
Yeah,
humans
they were
who
vegetables
just-
that turned into humans.
Yeah, but
Okay.
these are
Oh.
actual vegetables.
Then
Yeah.
they're fucking as vegetables.
Yes.
In this
Okay.
one, yeah.
I'm-
But they
I'm
vibrate. It's like a vibrating cucumber.
They're just vegetables vibrating near each other. I'm gonna listen while I have a charcuterie board with some
full of
crudité,
cucumbers. I love it.
if you will.
There's the
Great.
Canadian practice, French hors d'oeuvres, crudité.
Let me in.
I love it. All right, well, that's coming up next week. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.